Imagine a world where Latin is the global language. Caesar's legacy shapes our daily lives, and the Colosseum still hosts grand spectacles. What if the Roman Empire never fell, but persisted, evolving into a colossal superpower? This isn't just history, it's a deep dive into an alternate future, where Rome's enduring might redefines everything we know. Everyone knows the story. Rome fell, barbarian invasions, internal strife, economic collapse, a spectacular end to a legendary empire. But let's close that history book and open a new one. What if it didn't happen? What if Rome, with its unparalleled ability to adapt, simply kept going? Imagine the Colosseum not as a ruin for tourists, but as a living monument, its arches echoing with the roars of a continuous, thriving civilization. This is the story of an eternal Rome, a city whose dawn never ended. In our timeline, Rome's fall plunged Europe into what we call the Dark Ages. But in a world where Rome stood strong, this period of fragmentation might never have occurred. A continuous Pax Romana, a Roman peace, 2.0, would have provided the stability for scientific and technological progress to accelerate beyond our wildest dreams. Imagine Roman engineers, masters of aqueducts and concrete, turning their genius to steam power, electricity, and even early forms of computation. Centuries before our history books say it happened, there would be no fractured Europe of competing nations, but a unified Roman continent. How would this have changed global exploration? Would Roman legions have been the first to map the Americas, not Spanish conquistadors? Would they have established colonies in Africa and Asia under the banner of the eagle, spreading Roman law and culture across the globe? This unified Roman state would have profoundly altered international relations. The very concept of nation-states might be alien. Instead of a United Nations, we might have a global Roman Senate, with representatives from provinces spanning every continent. The legal frameworks that govern us today, many of which are already based on Roman law, would be direct, unbroken descendants of the 12 Tables. Perhaps this unified legal system could have prevented some of history's most devastating wars. Would the world wars have been just minor provincial rebellions, quickly quelled by the central authority of Rome? A single, dominant power could enforce peace on a global scale, but at what cost? Would it be a benevolent peace, or one maintained through the unyielding might of the legions? The geopolitical landscape would be utterly unrecognizable, dominated by a single, ancient superpower. Let's dive into the technological marvels of this enduring Rome. Roman engineering was already legendary. Given another 1,000 years of uninterrupted development, what could they have achieved? Forget an industrial revolution in the 18th century. Perhaps Roman ingenuity would have harnessed steam power by the 8th century. Picture Roman-built railways crisscrossing Europe, powered by sophisticated steam engines forged in imperial factories. By the Renaissance period, they might have been experimenting with flight, not with Da Vinci's sketches, but with ornithopters, bearing the SPQR emblem. And what about space? The Roman ambition to explore and conquer new frontiers might not have stopped at Earth's borders. By the 20th century, a Roman space program could have been aiming for the moon, or even Mars, seeing it not as a scientific endeavor, but as a divine mandate to extend the empire to the heavens. Art and philosophy would have followed a different path. The Renaissance, a rebirth of classical ideals, would be unnecessary because those ideals never died. Instead, we'd see a continuous evolution of classical art. Imagine Roman sculptors, having perfected realism, exploring abstract forms 1,000 years early. Philosophy wouldn't need to rediscover Plato and Aristotle. They would be the bedrock of a continuous academic tradition, with Roman philosophers debating quantum physics in Latin. But this continuous tradition raises darker questions. Roman society was built on slavery. Would this institution have persisted? Perhaps it would have evolved, morphing from chattel slavery into a more complex system of indentured servitude or a rigid caste system. Citizenship, the most prized possession in the ancient world, would be the central social issue. Would it have expanded to include all inhabitants of the empire, or would it remain an exclusive status, creating a permanent global class divide between citizens and subjects? The social structure of this alternate world could be both wonderfully advanced and terrifyingly archaic. Now, let's consider the cultural fabric of this Roman world. What language would you be hearing right now? It probably wouldn't be English. More likely, a descendant of Latin would be the global lingua franca. Imagine a world where Romance languages, like Italian, French, and Spanish never diverged into separate tongues but remained dialects of a universal Roman language spoken from Britain to Japan. Our cities would look completely different. The Roman grid system, their love for grand public buildings, and their revolutionary use of concrete would define urban landscapes worldwide. Every major city might feature a forum, public baths, and an amphitheater as standard, architectural echoes of the eternal city itself. And what of faith? The Roman Empire historically adopted Christianity. In this alternate timeline, how would that relationship have evolved? Perhaps Christianity would have remained intertwined with Roman state power, creating a global theocracy ruled from a Vatican that was also the imperial capital. Or maybe the old Roman pantheon of gods would have made a comeback, syncretizing with local beliefs across the globe. Picture neo-pagan festivals celebrated in every corner of the empire, with Jupiter, Mars, and Venus worshipped alongside local deities. The moral and ethical framework of the entire planet would be shaped by these religious currents, creating a spiritual landscape vastly different from our own. So, let's fast forward. The year is 2025. What does this Roman Empire look like today? Is it a sprawling, high-tech republic, governed by a cybernetically enhanced Senate? Or is it a constitutional monarchy, ruled by a descendant of Caesar Augustus who addresses the world from a holographic throne in the imperial palace on Palatine Hill? Picture daily life. You might wake up in your insula apartment block, check the latest news on your tabula, a sleek tablet-like Divison commute to work on a magnetic levitation train that follows the path of an ancient Roman road. You might watch genetically engineered beasts battle in a futuristic Colosseum, broadcasts globally in stunning virtual reality. The Ego Standard flies not just on flagpoles, but on starships docked in orbit. It's a world of breathtaking marvels and profound control, a testament to the enduring power of Rome. It is a world of order, technology, and spectacle, but perhaps also a world with less freedom and diversity than our own. This vision of an eternal Rome is both captivating and concerning. It is a world that could have reached the stars centuries ago but might have sacrificed the very freedoms we cherish to get there. So I want to ask you, what aspect of a continuous Roman Empire do you find most compelling? Is it the technological acceleration, the cultural unity, or the global peace? And what do you find most concerning? The potential for tyranny, the loss of cultural diversity, or the persistence of ancient inequalities? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this journey through an alternate timeline. If you enjoyed this exploration of history that wasn't, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the greatest what-ifs of our world. Until next time, stay curious.